What's your concern about how AIPAC, the Senate, the Congress, the lobby are acting in Israel's best interests?
Well, AIPAC is not acting in Israel's best interest. They're acting on Obama's best interest. You know, Obama has no moral authority whatsoever. How could he demand with Kerry that Israel give up 104 Islamic Nazi child killers to get to the peace table with the very people who want all of the Jews dead? None of this makes any sense, and yet AIPAC went in that direction. My issue is really very simple. You don't mess with my religion. Israel's not 66 years of age, it's 5,000 years of age. And you're not negotiating Jerusalem, which has been Jewish for 3,000 years, and our covenant with God for 5,000 years, and divide it and give it to the very people who are allied with Hitler and dance in the streets after 9/11 and think somehow or another you have peace. AIPAC is completely off the wall. It was doing, Obama's addressing us. That's the most important thing, because it's like another fundraiser for him. But the interests of the Jewish people and our Jewish faith and Israel's security and America's security, they left behind. This is an outrage. Now, the latest rumor is they're going to go back into doing the sanctions. The latest rumor is, well, Obama has had it with AIPAC, or he's afraid to go back, so he sends Kerry. Either way, the point is that it's been a total, complete disaster. We're in more danger than we ever have been. And the bottom line is, who is negotiating on behalf of Israel's security with Iran and nukes? Iran that says there was no Holocaust, Iran that threatens Israel's extinction, and here we have 5 plus 1, the very countries boycotting Israel, telling Israel to divide itself and give it to the Islamic Nazis. They're the ones negotiating our security with Iran, either for Israel or for America. I mean, this is the most insane thing I have ever seen. The failure of AIPAC as the #1 Jewish organization lobbying group is a complete disaster. So my argument is, what in the world are we... What's their point? They have damaged us so bad, wasting precious time we didn't have, playing this stupid game, and now we're in absolute danger. And here you have a boss with Fatah that Obama's given $2 billion to. He's only offered $15 million for 125,000 Holocaust survivors, but he gives $2 billion against the law, Title 18, on giving material support to terrorists. So Hamas and Fatah get the money. They're still threatening to exterminate all Jews. Abbas says, my Jewish state is not going to be a Jewish state. My state will be Jew-free, no different than the Nazis. And he praises the Mufti of Jerusalem that was aligned with Hitler to do the Holocaust, while cowardly denying that the Holocaust exists. How can anybody make peace with these kind of animals? You can't. So the point is, what was AIPAC's point from the very beginning? Now everybody's boycotting Israel. Now everybody thinks Israel is the new Nazis. Now everybody thinks that we're out committing genocide on the poor Arabs. Israel has the worst public relations in the history of the universe. They have no clue. They'll discover every type of tech in order to tell everyone else how to use it, and don't tell their story. It's mind-boggling what is going on. But the point is, they've put themselves in great jeopardy, and America's in great jeopardy. And where is AIPAC? Well, finally, they're saying, gee, maybe we shouldn't discuss this with Obama. Well, how about Kerry, who's even worse? Obama has no credibility on any level. Here they go, him and Hillary say in 2011, Assad from Syria is a reformer. So 200,000 dead, 2 million refugees. What is their point? These are the people that Israel's negotiating with? Obama's track record in Egypt, who did he support? Not the grassroots. He supported Morsi with the Muslim Brotherhood, which supported Hitler. And after Morsi says, well, the Jews are descendants from apes and pigs, Obama gives them 16 jets and 200 tanks. What in the world is going on here? Did AIPAC open up its mouth? Of course not.
Do you see Obama as being naive or
evil? This guy's a jihadist. And there's nobody fighting him. We've been out there all the time. We've done 655 rallies and events since October 2007, and over 2,000 media. We're out there not as a left-right issue. We protested against Bush with the exact same mentality. The problem here is these guys haven't woken up. We're in great danger. And how do you make peace with somebody that wants to kill you? We were in Israel when Obama was there. We warned the Israelis, you can't trust this guy. This guy is a jihadist. He's playing the worst games with the terrorists. He's supplying the terrorists. He's arming the terrorists. You're the last people he's concerned with. What are you doing? Will you wake up?
Do you feel that the Israeli media are under the same
Stupidity.
as the American media.
The dumbest I've ever seen. They're so interested in being like Eurotrash. It's unbelievable. Gee, look how modern we are. Look how fabulous we are. You know, it's beyond disgusting. By the way, we're doing more media than they're doing in terms of the community. Who did they just nominate for Miss Israel?
An Ethiopian?
An Ethiopian, Israeli, worked with part of IDF. We go to the Caribbean stations and we say, look what Israel has done. They put it on the air. Israel does this miracle of doing Miss Israel from Ethiopia. Have they promoted her anywhere around the world? That's how stupid they are. They do something good, then have no idea how to promote it. What's their point?
But what does it matter if they have an Ethiopian Miss Israel if the fundamental legitimacy of Israel is not properly defended, represented, and portrayed in the public consciousness?
It's not going to be portrayed by the rest of the media. The rest of the media is already in bed with the Islamic Nazis. But where's our Al Jazeera? We've been saying it for how many years? You need 24-hour, 7 days a week, in every language. Tell your story. You have a story to tell. You're not 66 years of age. You're 5,000 years of age. If you can't even sell this archaeology, and you're 2,000 years ahead of both Christianity and Islam, what is the point? Here Obama says, let's go back to 1967 lines. What does that mean? I was on the first plane into Israel after the Six-Day War. On my 25th birthday, I'm amongst the first few thousand Jews able to go into the burial place of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob and their wives. No Jew had access to that prior to 1967 for 1,700 years. You couldn't get up the first 7 steps. Here, Israel frees us, and what do we have? We have Obama saying, oh no, let's go back to 1967, that don't even exist in terms of borders. What we're saying is, everything that's Jewish and everything that's holy to the Jews is under Muslim control. Same thing with the Temple Mount, same thing with access to every one of the holy sites is under Muslim control. Bibi says to the Islamic world and to the Arabs, recognize this as a Jewish state. The question is, when is Bibi going to recognize Israel as a Jewish state? He doesn't support the faith on any single level. He doesn't want God in his arsenal. He thinks that if he says with the secular, he wins everybody's support. Well, let me tell you something, Bibi. Jerusalem and Israel doesn't belong to you. It belongs to every Jew in the world and every Jew murdered for being a Jew. Do you understand? And if you don't want to be the caretaker of what is holy to us and has cost millions and millions of lives, then get the hell out, move to Greenland, and leave us alone. Bibi is such an embarrassment. It's unbelievable. He has no... I can't find a word for it except that he's so typical AIPAC. Okay? He doesn't have the cojones to stand there and do what is morally right. All right? And the bottom line is, I'm out there all the time. I have to face these lefties and crazies all the time because we're out in the streets and we're visible. And you're occupying Arab land? Yeah, we've been occupying for 5,000 years. And we'll be there another 5,000. Next. I don't sit and apologize for my existence as a Jew. What the hell are they talking about?
Hey, look, you started off as a liberal reformer yourself.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the way the liberals and far left are protesting against America's Israel lobby and for the Palestinian narrative?
It's crazy. I mean, it's absolutely insane. How could you be a part of the left and say, well, we want gay rights for everybody? On the other hand, the Arabs are the worst, and even in terms of gays. They chop their heads off in Saudi Arabia. They hang them in Iran. They treat women less than they do donkeys. What is their point? So the left is such total hypocrites on this whole thing. What do you do with a self-hating Jew? There's nothing like it. It's like, it's the Judenrats, it's the Nazis. If you don't like yourself, nobody else is going to. And that's where the left has been. Anti-Semitic, the worst. I can't find words to describe it. And I moved away from that insanity ages ago. I'm not interested in left-right politics. I think they're all crazy. My message to the Haredim is very simple. You know, you pray to God 3 times a day, and for Jerusalem, why don't you get off your ass and fight for it? And by the way, why aren't you taking over the Israeli army? They've invited you to come in. Why don't you tell everybody about your 5,000-year history and why you do the prayer every day? And by the way, there are plenty of religious Jews that are part of the IDF. You know, this secular versus religious or left, right, you know, the communists versus the it's complete insanity when our lives are at stake again. And they haven't learned a damn thing from the Holocaust. So the point is, why are we playing this game?
What would you say to liberally minded people who would identify with liberal and leftist protesters for Palestine?
I think you're a bunch of a-holes. I think you're the worst scum of the earth. These are the very people who will cut your throat after they use you to give them what they want. I don't understand where you're at. You have to make a decision. These people are after everybody they consider to be an infidel. Jews, Christians, Hindus,
non-Muslim infidel.
Well, not only that, but they're killing each other between the Sunni and the Shia. So what is the point? You know, last year, 2,300 Christians were murdered by the Muslims. Anybody open up their mouth from the left? By the very same people they're in bed with. Did anybody open up their mouth?
So do you think that they're afraid of the Muslims, which is why they're trying to serve up the Jews as an appeasement?
No, I think they hate themselves and are a pack of cowards. I don't think it's a question of hating the Muslims. They love the Muslims. The point is they won't defend their own faith while they're defending Allah. What's so insane about this is that we're 2,000 years older. Let me tell the left something very simple. Without the Old Testament, there's no New Testament. And without the Old Testament, there is no Islam. There's no Quran. Do you understand? The Quran says, oh, well, let's see, it wasn't Abraham trying to sacrifice Isaac 2,000 years earlier. He was sacrificing Ishmael. So if the Jews are going to buy into that crap, then they'll buy into everything. So the lie starts on that level. In the meantime, what is it about what God said to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob? This is our eternal land.
What is?
This land, the Holy Land is our eternal land forever and ever. That's what he said to Abraham.
Whose land?
The Jews. Even the Pope, you should pardon the expression, said the covenant is intact. That's our relationship, okay? And so the question here is, if it's intact and the League of Nations gave it to us in the 1920s and millions of Jews were exterminated for this, who are you to say that you're going to give it up to the very people aligned with Hitler to kill all the Jews and at the same time dance in the streets after 9/11? I mean, the left is so... You see, it's not even just an insanity. It's total anti-Semitism. The fact that they're into that kind of mentality shows you how much they hate themselves, and they're willing to betray all the millions of people who murdered for being Jews, whether you're religious or not. And I think that's the key, because they have no conscience, they have no substance on anything that they're talking about. How do you betray the people who are considered martyrs? You know, at least the one thing about the Muslims, you know, when they're ready to kill you, they scream Allah Akbar. You know, and here the Jews, after 5,000 years, are still debating whether or not there's a God. I mean, you could go nuts with these people. But the point I want to say is, AIPAC, you failed us. Are you going to finally get on board, stop this crap, and do what has to be done, because we're at the 11th hour, and Israel and America are in deep trouble because you failed us. You can take all the money you want. It's not going to help.
Are you calling for new leadership?
New leadership, new direction, a whole new policy. Open it up to people like me. We're out in the streets. We got more information than you'll ever have, because we know exactly where the public is at. You need to find a whole new direction. We have no problem telling the truth. The public has been on our side all along. We're probably the most underfinanced success story in the history of the Jewish nation. And don't